Hello, welcome to episode 9 of the Owl About Yarn podcast. I'm Jenny and you can find me on Ravelry as Jenster79 and everywhere else, including Instagram, Facebook, WordPress, etc. as Owl About Yarn. Owl About Yarn is the name of my yarn business, and I have a shop on Etsy where I sell my own hand-dyed yarn and fibre and stitch markers that I've made as well. So thank you very much for coming back. If you've watched me before, if this is your first time, thank you very much for giving me a go. It's been I think it's been more than a month, hasn't it? Oh, I don't know where this summer's going. It's just going so incredibly fast. And the kids have been on summer holidays now for about 4 weeks. And I haven't had a chance to record a podcast at all. But I've evicted them all this afternoon. My husband's taken them all out. He says he's going to take them to the park and take them for a cup of tea and buy some ice cream for this evening. And that's ice cream just for me and him, not for the kids. We do have a little habit every now and again where we'll sit down in an evening when they're all in bed and share some nice ice cream. So hopefully it'll be Ben & Jerry's chocolate fudge brownie, or maybe fish food, or maybe some Haagen-Dazs, but I'm definitely feeling in a chocolatey mood. So fingers crossed he finds some nice ice cream on offer or something like that. Anyway, I'm getting off track because I'm thinking about ice cream. Let me just have a mouthful of my tea. Because during summer holidays I don't have many opportunities to drink a hot cup of tea. This one's already a little bit lukewarm because I've been trying to get them out the door. And I made it before they left so that it'd be cool enough for me to drink while I was talking to you. Now, because this was sort of impromptu, it wasn't impromptu. What it is that my husband promised that he'd take them out and give me some time to record. But he did say that 2 weeks ago, because he had a week off, he was going to take them out and I'd be able to record a podcast then. So I started writing show notes up and, put a load of stuff together so I'd remember what I had to tell you and all of these sorts of things. And then it didn't happen that week. So I decided to go with Murphy's Law, which, the whole thing about if you plan for something to happen, it won't happen, and if you plan for it not to happen, it will. I decided to go with that and assumed that I wouldn't be podcasting today so that I could do it, relying on Murphy's Law. So I've been running around frantically for the last half an hour gathering everything I wanted to show you and wanted to talk about, but I haven't written any show notes. This is going to be completely off the cuff. I have no notes to guide me, so I apologise straight away if I'm going to be rambling. I've been a bit away with the fairies all summer holidays because it's like having 3 little shadows. Gorgeous, beautiful shadows, but 3 little shadows follow me around. Plus Erin's given up her afternoon nap, so that precious hour or 2 in the afternoons that I was having of quiet, relax and recharge time, that's gone. However, she starts nursery next month. And I know I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss her so much, even though she's only going to be gone for 2.5 hours. But it will be a chance to recharge a bit and have a little bit of time to just switch my brain off from time to time and rest. All of you out there who've got kids, you know what I mean. That sometimes you need to be just alone so that you can relax and rewind. Now, my sister-in-law, she's got 2 small girls. My oldest niece will be 4 tomorrow, and my second niece will be 2 just before Christmas. And through the summer holidays, she's had them both to herself. Her husband's been working away for a couple of weeks, so she's only seen him at the weekends. And she's done amazingly well because they've actually moved house this week, and she's done the majority of the organisation and that on her own with these 2 little girls under 4. But she had to go to the doctors last week, and she sent me a message and she said, oh, I'm in the waiting room and I thought surgery began, it was like 20 to 3. I thought surgery began at 3, but it doesn't begin until 3:30. So I text back and I said, oh, well, because I knew she wasn't with the girls, they were with their grandparents who were visiting. I said, oh, well, bonus time. And she said, oh, I'm in heaven. I've got a notebook, I've got a bottle of Diet Coke, and I've got my phone. I could sit here all afternoon. And it's just the difference between relaxation time before you have kids, where you want a bubbly bath, or you want to go for a massage or whatever. All you need is just time alone when you've got small kids. So yeah. Anyway, where did I? Oh, I'm going all over the place. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let me think. Impromptu. Yes. So, yeah, that fits. So what I was going to say is that I haven't got any show notes, so I might be rambling a bit and going backwards and forwards. And it's already started. I'm so sorry. What I have done, I've arranged all the things that I want to show you in piles according to the usual sections of the podcast. So if I had show notes, today the sections would be works in progress, which is there, finished items, which is there and there, acquisitions, plans, and shop news. So it's all organised, sort of. I just haven't written it down, and I will try and write some show notes, but they might not be very detailed. I might have to watch the podcast back in order to write down everything so I don't forget anything. So, diving straight in, let's get into, I'm going to start with finished items because I've only got one work in progress and it kind of links in, so I'm switching it up a little bit here. Last time I saw you, it was the start of the Tour de France. I really enjoyed the tour this year. I enjoyed watching the cycling. I seem to be getting more into it and learning more about the technical side of it and enjoying watching the strategies, and it amazes me that the gaps between them are so low, because they cycle for 3,500 kilometres or something, and yet there are seconds in it at the end of it. It just completely blows me away. Anyway, getting off track again. Last time I just finished this yarn, and I didn't show it to you because it was wet, or it was it that it was wet, it hadn't dried, there was something, anyway. But this is, I can't see now, this is better. This is a chunky, I'd say, possibly super chunky weight, Navajo Plaid merino, and I got the fibre at Wonderwool. It was a bag of broken tops in all different blues and turquoises. I don't know if you can see that well through there, but Ben chose this bag of colours for him to have a winter hat. So I split it into bits and pieces and spun it up and then Navajo plied it, so it should be stripy. So that will be knitted up in the next couple of months for him. And they've each now got, it's down here actually, they've each now got a ball of yarn. So that one's Jack's, that was the John Arbon fibre starter colourway, which was sort of red and orange, and they're selling that on their website I think at the moment. It might be members only, but it's definitely one of the colours that they're talking about selling more now. And then this one is the one that Erin, oh excuse my nail varnish, I'm so sorry, I've not sorted it out, I'll tell you about that after. But anyway, this one is the one that Erin picked out that I dyed, and it's sort of red with a little bit of purple in it. They're all Navajo plied, and they're all somewhere between an hour and a super chunky, so it's going to be very much making up the gauge as I go. Not making up the gauge as I go, making up the pattern as I go when I've done a gauge swatch. So that's that dyed and caked up now, so they're all ready to knit just as soon as I want to sit down and do that. The next finished item, finished spin, is this one, and this is, let me think, Spin City. This is Spin City by the way, I'm really sorry, I'm still trying to find my way around. I've got a new tablet and that's what I'm recording on, but I'm used to the camera being over there, so that's why I keep looking over there instead of looking at the camera over here, and I'm holding it up there, and of course it's not, it's the wrong end. So this was Spin City Fibre. I think it's Cinderella Slippers, the colourway, and it's got a little bit of sparkle in it, and I think it's got some Wensleydale and various other fibres. I should probably, what I should do actually, if you just bear with me a minute, I'll look it up on Ravelry, because I did mean to, where are we? My notebook. I haven't written down the yardage or anything, having not done show notes, so I can't tell you how much yardage I got from any of it. So the yarn that I just showed you, there's 134 yards, and it is roughly 100 grams, so that's very chunky. And then, where's the Spin City? There we are. It is Cinderella's Slippers. 382 yards I got, so that's very nearly a fingering weight, I'd say, because I used the whole braid. I don't think there was very much left over. I think I might have had a tiny little amount to Navajo ply, but I've left that upstairs because I'm sort of thinking that I'm going to do a blanket with when I spin fingering weight-ish, but then I Navajo ply the end bits, and I have all these little mini skeins that are sort of DK, so I'm thinking of doing a blanket eventually when I've got a massive great big thing of them, with just the hand spun. I thought that could be quite nice, although given my patience levels, chances are I might not make it quite so far as that. I might do a cushion cover or something instead. I'm just going to pause it, and I'm going to move the curtain because the glare coming from that side is really bothering me. So give me 2 seconds and I'll be back now. I'm back! That's much better now. It's a much softer light, so it's not going to glare. So what did I just do? Oh, I threw it down there. I have a little chair of Erin's that I'm just keeping there to sort of throw stuff on as I finished with it, so I've got some room for the other things. Can I get... Oh, that's better. So you can see the purples and the blues and my really bad nail varnish. I'm going to hide that. And I think you can get a bit of the sparkle as well. So that's really cool. You see, the nails, that is also part of relying on Sod's Law to get this podcast done. If I'd spent time and done my nails nicely, I wouldn't have been able to podcast. Right, next up is my pride and joy. I'm so thrilled with this yarn. I've been thinking of composing odes to Sarah Millis from Sarah's Texture Crafts. Hello Sarah, hiya. Because I love this fibre, like, this is totally serious. I love this fibre and the yarn that it has made, and I can't wait to knit it up, and hopefully I'll have knitted some of it up before I go to Bristol Wool Fair next month, and then I'll be able to show her my work in progress, because I'm going to be that person who takes the work in progress with her, even though I won't be able to work on it, and I'll tell you for why in a minute, but just because I want to be able to say, look what I've made, it's amazing, I love it, hopefully. Anyway, so I took 4 braids of fibre that I bought from Sarah maybe 4 or 5 years ago at Wonderwool. They were all the same colourway, but 2 were on merino and 2 were on merino and Tussar silk. I spun them all individually, and then I plied 1 merino, 1 Tussar silk, so that they're 2 ply, and it's just, well, here they are. Look! Can you see the sheen on them? And if I get, I'm getting too close now. Yeah, it's not quite the right colour, but you can see the variety in the purples and then the paler colour of the silk coming through. And it's just, I'm so thrilled to bits. So it's 400 grams. And I've got, I will get used to this camera, I am sorry. I've got just over 1,450 yards, and yeah, I couldn't be happier with it. I'm so pleased with how well it's spun up, how finely, I mean it's not fine like lace weight fine, it's roughly fingering weight, or 4-ply weight, but it's just, I just love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Bad nails again, bad nails. So, I did that. I have I do have with me my teeny tiny little Navajo plied skein that's left over. That will be added to the collection. And my plans, I've already got plans. My plans for this is, bear with, my phone insists on refreshing the page every time I turn the internet back on, is I'm going to knit a Hitafude cardigan, which is on Ravelry, as you can see. It's a lacy, drapey, flowy cardigan, which is knit, as far as I can tell. I haven't looked at the pattern very closely yet. It's knit all in one piece and from the top down, and I think it's Minerva Turkey on her podcast. I really enjoy her podcast, who talks about how she's seen quite a few of them when she's been to various fibre festivals, and they all look good on everybody, doesn't matter what size or shape they are. So I thought, well, that's good enough for me. So because it's knit from the top down as well, I think you can vary the length, and I'm hoping, I had a look at the yardage, and I'm hoping that I have enough yardage to just make it a little bit longer, because it seems as if it's a little bit short at the front for me. It's sort of longer at the back and then shorter at the front, and I don't mind that, but I'd rather that because it's only just below waist length, I think, from what I can see of the pictures. And I like my cardigans to be a little bit longer than that, more like hip length. So I'm hoping to be able to knit it just a little bit longer if I've got enough yarn. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That should be started. I think I'll probably be starting that next month, because I've got a few other things that I want to knit before I get to that. So that's the first part of the Sarah's Texture Crafts show. The second part is my Miss Winkle shawl, which I finished. Do you remember me spinning the yarn? It was Sarah's Texture Crafts fibre, which I saw her advertising on Instagram the day before Wonderwall, and I thought to myself, I have to have that fibre. I love those colours. And then I spun it up into a fractal gradient and showed you it, and Marie, hi Marie, hi, very kindly bought me this pattern, which is Miss Winkle by Martina Behm, with all the little loops. I love the little loops. It's just so simple and effective. It really is. And yet you can see the gradient with the fractal gradient that goes from yellow through to purple. And yeah, I really, really like it. I think I'll probably knit this pattern again, because it was detailed enough to keep my interest, but easy enough that I took it with me on the train to London. I'll have to tell you about that after. I can't believe I haven't talked to you since before I went to London. Oh, so much has happened. Anyway, yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that, and I'm pleased with the look of it as well. So, yeah. Yeah, good. So, next finished item. It looks like I've been really busy, but I don't really feel as if I've done very much. What I have got to tell you about, do you remember I was doing the Togs jumper? Yeah, that's sort of gone on the back burner for the time being. It got a little bit warm to be knitting with such a warm yarn, and the tour de fleece was on, so I was spinning more than I was knitting, so that didn't quite get finished. And the dragon lace pullover I was knitting, turns out it's way, way too big. I did the front and back, seamed the shoulders and tried it on, and it just swamped me. And I'm not a particularly small person, but it totally, I could have taken probably 20 stitches out of it. So I've gone down a good couple of sizes, even though the gauge was not too far off as far as I can remember. I think I got gauge, but gauge lies. Gauge swatches lie. So yeah, I haven't decided what I'm doing with that, because I did start a sleeve, but I just got a bit discouraged because the body was so far off. And I think what I decided I was going to do was I was actually going to seam up the sides to take it in, and then knit sleeves in a smaller size. And I worked out the gauge for myself to see exactly where I was going to go to, because I wanted to make it a long sleeve sweater instead of a 3/4 length as well. And so I was trying to decide whether I needed to rip it all out and start again, but I haven't got the best track record with doing that. I don't enjoy doing that, so I thought I probably would end up seaming up the sides to try and make it fit, and then add these smaller sleeves in, and I seemed to work out how it could work. So yeah, anyway, so that's why you're not seeing them. They're on a little bit of a timeout, but maybe in the autumn I'll get back to them, because that Tonks Togs, definitely I want to finish it. And I'd started the second sleeve, so I needed to finish that and then knit the yoke, because you put the sleeves and the body together and then finished it off. So it really wouldn't have been a very large amount of work. I just lost a bit of interest really in favour of the spinning. But what I have been knitting is Bonbon Bunnies. I think you might remember from one of the earlier episodes me showing you my Bonbon Bunny, which is a dutty tiny little purple one. He is somewhere. Erin took him over a bit. I'm looking in the toy boxes, I can't see him. He's probably up in her bedroom. He was quite a little one because he was knit with almost a fingering weight hand spun, and then Erin said she wanted one, and she picked out some fibre, and I spun it up a bit thicker, if you remember, sort of, I'm looking at him now, maybe DK weight, and that again was Navajo plied, and it was merino silk from Wingham Woolworks, again at Wonderwool, bright pink that I bought. I bought a couple of really bright colours just to sort of push me outside my comfort zone a little bit of the purples and turquoises and things that I usually go for. Anyway, I finished her Bonbon Bunny, and he is here, and she loves him a lot. So as soon as he was finished, we went to Tinton Abbey the day that he was finished, and he came, well, the day after. I finished him late at night. He came with us on the trip, and she just held him the whole way around, cuddled him the whole way around, cuddled him while she was asleep in the car afterwards. He's got a fluffy little tail, which is made out of Sirdar snowflake yarn, which is really awkward to try and do increases and decreases, because you can't see the stitches, but it's so effective, it was worth the pain of it, so I'm glad that I did. And then his eyes are from amieyes.etsy.com, which is Celtic Lucas. I think he's Celtic Lucas on Instagram and on Ravelry, but they're hand painted eyes, and we ordered them specially. Erin picked the pink ones, so that's her Bonbon Bunny finished. And I decided as well that I wanted to knit them for my nieces, because like I say, they're moving house, and they did live in Cardiff, so they were only 20 minutes on the other side of the city, and they've moved, so now they're more like an hour and 20 minutes away. They're living in England now, and it's a bit sad because I've known them, I've seen them pretty much every week since they were born. You know, they know me really well, and I've watched them grow from nothing, and so it's a bit, I mean, we'll still see them really regularly, but it's not the same as, you know, Elizabeth would text me and say, oh, have you got anything on this morning, or do you want to come over, or do you want to go to the park or something? And you could just do more spontaneous things like that, but so things are going to change a little bit, but we're really going to make the effort to still try and see each other loads. But I decided to make Bonbon Bunnies for her daughters as well, because especially her littlest, the one who will be 2 just before Christmas, she really loves this Bonbon Bunny, because she came to stay for a couple of days, not at nights, just in the daytime, for them to pack up the house last week. And all I could hear when I was putting down for a nap was a little voice following me down the stairs going, Denny, Bunny. and she wanted this one, but Erin's a teeny bit possessive, so we had to give her a different rabbit so that Erin wouldn't get cross about that. So that's Erin's, and I finished Charlotte's today. So look, there he is. I'm really pleased with him. I've used proper buttons instead of eyes. I was a little bit worried. I mean, these eyes, they do seem to be very, very securely fixed in. And after Erin's incident of swallowing a hair clip, I'm acutely aware of anything that she might try and shove up her nose, in her ears or down her throat. So I did test these a lot. But you know, when it's for somebody else's kids, you're even more careful. And I mean, I'm paranoid about my kids. You just got to ask my husband. I'm so safety conscious. It's ridiculous. Yeah, and I really can't pull these off. I have tried and tried and tried. But just for that extra level of security, plus we'll be able to tell the difference between Megan's and Charlotte's, because they're both going to be with the same wool. So this one, for the littlest, has got button eyes, which I've sewn on and really firmly, sorry Bonbon, really firmly sewn on. And then the one for her big sister, who will be 4 tomorrow, is, I think I've got golden eyes, or there'll be pictures. I'll have given him away before I do another podcast, I expect. But there will be pictures, and there'll be pictures on Instagram when I finish him as well. I did hope to have them finished before they moved, but that didn't happen. I just finished this one this morning, so I've just been so busy. But yeah, so that's my last finished object, I think. That's all of them. So I have my 2 Bonbon bunnies, and I would sit them to look at you, but their feet kind of get in the way a bit. See if I can just have a little rest. Look, have a little. That'll do, won't it? And they can look at you over my shoulder. So after works in progress, finished items, plans. So I've told you about the Hit a Few Day. That'll be next month. Because I've told myself I'm going to knit Erin a couple of school cardigans, and she starts school in 2.5 weeks. I have one school cardigan, proper school cardigan with the badge on it for her. But the other cardigans, I usually, for the boys, I would buy them school jumpers from the supermarket. And they were fine because they were sort of fleecy sweatshirt material. But the girls' cardigans just seem really thin. And I thought, oh, that's rubbish. She's never going to be warm enough through the winter in them. So I went and bought just some cheapy acrylic Mariner special double knitting, which actually, by the postcode, is made just around the corner, which is bizarre. It's the first half of my postcode is the same, which is a bit weird. And again, it's the month of knitting up patterns that Marie's given me, I think, because Marie gave me this pattern. It might have been for my birthday. And this is the Tallulah cardigan. And it's very plain V-neck, well, not plain, but it's, you know, it's a straightforward V-neck cardigan, except it's got lovely little lace detail all the way down the sleeves. So I'm making, obviously, the long-sleeved version, and I might make it a teeny little bit longer in the body than that, just to keep her warm while she's playing outside. And that's as far as I've got. I haven't even cast on yet. So I think I'll be casting this on this evening, because we'll be going to see my niece for her birthday tomorrow, so I'll have a little bit of time in the car to knit. My husband will be driving. I did the driving in the week because I took the girls down there on Thursday once their parents had moved in. And it wasn't too bad because it's mainly motorway. It's sort of 15 minutes each end that isn't motorway, so it was straightforward. It's just that this bit of motorway from Cardiff into England, they have variable speed limits all the way in. So you go from 70 down to 50, down to 40, back up to 60. And it's just, it's sort of this stop-start sort of driving, which, yeah, it's not a straightforward drive at all. And then you've got to pay to get back into Wales. And anyway, I'm digressing again. So, red cardigan, which I will have one done before I next talk to you. Otherwise, Erin isn't going to have enough cardigans for school, which could be a problem. I haven't done any spinning this month at all, and being that it's halfway through with the 15th of August now, that's shocking. I can't remember the last time I went so long without spinning, probably before I had a spinning wheel. But I have this beautiful John Arbon fleece, more John Arbon. I seem to be mentioning John Arbon, Sarah's Texture Crafts, Wing and Wool Works, and Purple Snowdrop Marie. Hi! A lot this episode, but I have a lot of this because it turns out I bought this at Wonderwool because I looked at it and I thought, oh, isn't that pretty, with the purples and a little bit of brown and a little bit of sort of like a dull claret sort of a colour. Oh, that'll knit up, that'll spin up beautifully when I spin it. But obviously when I went to the mill open day, I had the same idea and forgot that I'd already bought some. So I have really quite a lot of this fibre. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin it up reasonably thick. It's going to be Navajo plied because there's no, by the time it's all spun, you're not going to see very much difference in the colours. It's going to be more of a sort of tweedy effect, I think. And I'm going to spin it up, I'm going to M-ply it, and then I'm going to design a simple jumper for Erin for the winter, which is why I'm aiming at sort of a double knit weight, maybe an Aran weight, something like that, so that it'll be nice and warm. And obviously I have got plenty, so I'll definitely be able to get the yardage out of this. And I don't want it to just sit there either, it's such a lovely big quantity of fibre. I bought some fibre from John Arbon a couple of years ago, intending to spindle spin it to make her a jumper, and oh, my hair, I'm sorry. And it that's better, that was bothering me. I never got round to it. I spun one spindle amount and I never went back to it. So that's still sitting upstairs, right, waiting to be finished. Maybe I'll get round to that later in the year, who knows. But that was more springy, light blue and lilac-y colours, so that's going to be a nice winter jumper for her, and it'll be nice and warm as well. So I'll start spinning that in the next week or two. Hopefully I'll have a bobbin full to show you when I next see you. And I think that's about it. Oh, I know what I forgot to tell you. The yarn for the Bonbon Bunny that I'm making for my nieces, because I've done so far, I've started a foot on the last one that I'm doing. It's Collinette, and it's in the fuchsia colourway, made in Wales, somewhere further north than me. Obviously you don't go any further south than me, really. I can't remember where Collinette is. I think they're sort of mid-Wales, mid to North Wales. It's a Swansea, Shrewsbury postcode. But this is a double knit, and it's 100% wool, but it doesn't tell you what wool it is. Now, I personally, can I show you the, where's the, is that upside down? Yes. There we go. I personally wouldn't wear this right next to my skin. It'd probably be alright for a hat, as long as it wasn't rubbing on the back of your neck. I wouldn't have it as a cowl or anything, it's a bit crunchy. But it feels like it would be durable, which is why I picked it out for the Bonbon Bunnies for the girls. Yeah. So that's that one. And I think that's all the thing. Now I've got to show you this. Let's see if I can show you, because I found these patterns, and some of you are going to have Frozen fans in your family. I don't know if they're still free. These were free patterns. The designer had made them free last week, and I'm not sure if it was for a limited time, but I snagged them straight off, because look, Frozen Anna flip doll and a Frozen Elsa flip doll, and they go from their coronation outfit to the outfit that they wear later on in the film. So I need to knit them before Christmas. They are going on my to knit list, because they would be perfect Christmas presents for my older niece and for Erin. They'd love them. So I'm flying about all over the place today. Let's move on to acquisitions. And I have some nice acquisitions to show you. Just today, working in more or less reverse order, just today I got a little swap parcel of sock yarn for my sock yarn blanket from NH Knits, from the NH Knits podcast. And her name's Claire. And I think she was British and then moved over to America. But I'm not altogether sure. I've only listened to a couple of episodes so far. And it sounds like it's more interviews with people, or interviews about or covering specific subjects rather than just a chatty podcast, a rambling podcast like mine. So she sent me 5 little balls of very nice colours to go in my blanket. So that'll give me some added variety. Quite like that one, little marl type one. And a podcast badge, NH Knits, and a couple of little stitch markers attached underneath. So I did the same. I sent her 5 stitch markers and 5 mini skeins and a stitch marker to use. I got a feeling it might have been a lobster clasp one. I can't remember. Anyway, so that's lovely. My dad bought me a book, Spin Control. Learn to spin your dream yarns, from the soft bulky singles that elude many spinners to durable cabled yarns that will last a lifetime. Amy King provides the tools to create yarns that are as functional as they are beautiful. So that's awesome. I haven't sat and read it yet. I'm going to wait until Erin goes to school so that I can take time and read it. But I'm building up a nice library now of spinning books. So that's really lovely. When my mum and dad went on their last holiday, they went to Shetland. Tell me if I'm wrong. But they went on a round Britain cruise. And I think they went to Shetland. And they brought me back this book, Fair Isle Knitting Patterns. And it's got, they're all dots like that. They look kind of like coloured braille. But it's got just, look at that, the variety of Fair Isle patterns. Almost every traditional pattern that I think you could imagine. So that's going to give me food for thought whenever I want to do colour work for the next 20 years, I reckon. That'll give me, yeah. But I really am, once Erin goes to school, I'm going to settle down and really start doing some things that I need to concentrate on, because at the moment I'm not able to do anything that needs a lot of concentration unless Rob takes her out for the day. So like last week, he took her out, they went to the cinema, and I did some dyeing. I managed to have a really, really good long dyeing day, the one day, and then the next day I did just an afternoon, I think, I think I did a little bit more on a third day, I can't remember now, but I know I got an awful lot done, and I was really pleased with how much I got done, so I'll show you some of that later. But my final acquisition, and I've been waiting to show you this arrived just after my last podcast, and I've kept everything in the box. I keep just looking at it because I can't believe how much she sent me. Well, I kept all but the sweeties in the box, because who would leave sweeties? And I'm not going to show you everything because that would take an hour on its own probably. But Maria and I, Maria Samira on Ravelry, hi, how are you doing? Are you packing yet? We did an unofficial swap because there weren't any swaps going on in the Ravelry group that we're both in, or not any big swaps anyway. And she sent me, well, as I say, I'm not going to show you everything, but I wanted to show you the yarn specifically. And a little notebook. Look, she sent me a little notebook with owls on, so that's going to be a planning notebook, isn't it? She sent me a notions purse that she made, which goes with a project bag that she made, which has got snaps on the top for keeping yarn in and being able to knit from. And another project bag. So I had 2 project bags. I love the drawstring bag as well. I haven't mastered drawstrings efficiently yet. But and then stickers for Erin. See, look how mean I am. I haven't even let her play with the stickers yet. But yeah, stickers, they might be for me. I don't know that Erin's going to get hold of them. I do love a nice cartoony owl. But the yarn as well. Lana Grossa Mylanvite. And it's 80% wool, 20% polyamide. So obviously a really good sock yarn. Lovely pinks and grey. And then this one, this hasn't got a label, but I remember this is the reason that we started the swap. She mentioned that she'd ordered this wool that was sort of mill ends from America, and did I want to swap because she'd ordered quite a lot and she didn't think that she'd, I think it was you didn't think you'd get through it all or something, so did I want to swap something? And I said, yeah, go on then. So I sent her, I dyed some wool for her, and I sent her some hand spun, I think I made her some stitch markers. I definitely got the better end of the deal because she was so generous. But yeah, isn't that lovely? And I've no idea what those 2 are going to become yet, which patterns they're going to become. And then there's this one, look, Madeline Tosh. Has it got a thing? Tosh Merino DK. I've got 225 yards and it's the Coquette colourway. But look at the colour on that. Isn't that beautiful? And a few of my friends have seen this and they said, oh, this has to be a cowl because I'm dark haired and dark eyed and everything. They said it needs to be up by my face. So what I'm thinking is maybe I'll make a handbrake cowl with it because it would feel lovely. And it'll be lovely and bright and cheery for the winter as well if I have something this bright and colourful to wear. So yeah, I'm thinking of making another handbrake cowl with it, which is a pattern, is a paid for pattern on Ravelry by Dan and Kay Jones, who are the Bakery Bears from the Bakery Bears podcast. But it only costs £1 plus VAT if you live in Britain because, you know, they con us out of that. So £1.20 if you're in Britain, £1 if you're anywhere else. But all the money that they get, they are sending to cancer research. So it's a fantastic cause, and I have mentioned it before, but I would really recommend buying it if you haven't. So yeah, so I think that's what this is going to become, and that will just be lovely and cushy and soft, and yeah. Yes, so that will be another autumn project once I've got these school cardigans and bonbon bunnies out of the way and everything. And she also sent me some little packets of fibre, and there's some charms for making stitch markers and some buttons and some soap. So I was a very lucky girl. The one thing that she sent, which I wasn't allowed to have from the minute that we opened the box. We opened the box and she was inside for Erin. Isn't she cute? Isn't she gorgeous? Well, Erin just fell in love straight away, and there are pictures on Instagram because she took her straight to bed for a nap and she was cuddling her, and she's played with her so much the ribbon came off and we had to retie it, and yeah, she loves her. So she's been in her bedroom since she got her because she loves to cuddle her when she goes to bed. And I think she's, what did she call her? Ella. She called her Ella because you thought that she said Elsa, but it was Ella. That was right. I think it's because she's been going through a bit of a Cinderella phase recently. So Ella was probably the first name that came to her mind when she was thinking of good names for a little ballet dancer girl. But yeah, she's so cute. And then we saw Maria. She and her husband came to Cardiff for a visit, which was lovely. And so we were able to meet up at Cardiff Castle. There might be pictures at the end if I can remember where I've put them. They're somewhere. If I've got them, I'll show you of the castle, and I did a little video with Erin. But we met up with her and her husband, and we had a lovely couple of hours in the castle grounds, watching a wedding. There was a wedding, I think it was a military wedding, I think, were the men in uniform? And they got a horse and carriage that they drove around the grounds a couple of times in, and we sat there, and Maria brought dinosaurs for the boys, and they're up in their rooms, and that's 2 flights of stairs away, otherwise I would pause it and go and get them, so I'll have to try and remember next time. But they were really cute, and the boys loved them, especially Jack, because she made him this blue oh, it's gone out on my head, the name of it. But she called it a Tardisaurus because it was blue, and around its neck it had got like the little windows from the TARDIS, and he thought that was great, so he's been taking pictures of it posing with one of his Doctor figures and things like that, so he really liked that. But yeah, thank you ever so much again, Maria. It was such a fantastically generous parcel, and you really didn't need to put all of that in. I mean, I'm really glad you did, because it's gorgeous, gorgeous stuff, but oh, it's so generous. Thank you so much. So, out and about. Did I say I was doing out and about? I probably forgot I'd been out and about, because it's been such a long time since I talked to you. The most exciting out and about, I think, was that same weekend. So it was really, really lovely. Met up with Maria and her husband, and then the very next day, so it was a fantastic weekend. The very next day we went to London, and we went to see the last day of the Davis Cup quarter-final tie between Great Britain and France. So I don't know if any of you follow tennis at all, but we were able to see Great Britain go through to the semi-finals when Andy Murray beat Gasquet. Was he playing Gasquet? Oh, see, that's going to bother me now. I got so starstruck because then afterwards we found out where the players were going to be coming out, and my son, it was just me and Ben that went, my younger son. He absolutely loves tennis. He goes to tennis lessons and thinks it's the best thing ever. And we found out where the players were going to be coming out and managed to get some autographs and some pictures. And we actually managed to get his t-shirt, his tennis club t-shirt, signed by Andy Murray and his brother, and Leon Smith, the team captain for GB, and Tsonga, Joe Wilfried Tsonga, and who else? Oh, Mahu and oh, that's terrible, I should remember that. There were 3 French players who signed it, and 2 British players and the team captain, and he had his picture taken with Andy Murray and Jamie Murray. So he was just on cloud 9 after that. I mean, to have seen them win was one thing, and then to have had the autographs was another, and then pictures, and to actually have been able to say congratulations to Andy Murray himself was, it was fantastic. It was just the best time ever. And we had hoped that the semi-finals in September were going to be somewhere nearby, but they're in Glasgow, and that's a good 6.5 hour drive, or an hour and a half on a plane, except there aren't any convenient plane tickets that are really cheap, so we're not going to be getting to go to that, which is unfortunate. But if they beat Australia in the semi-finals, then they'll be in the finals in November, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they'll be in London or Birmingham, or even maybe Cardiff. Let's keep our fingers really firmly crossed for that one, so that we can perhaps get tickets and go and see that, because I think that'd be brilliant if we could go and see that. So that was that weekend. We also managed to see Maria again on the Monday before we came home, and we went to the Science Museum and we went into Hyde Park for a little bit. I'm not sure if I can post the video I took there. Ben in the Science Museum bought these little aeroplanes that you throw. They're like boomerang aeroplanes, so you throw them in such a way that they go around and come back to you and you catch them. And the bloke in the shop had got it down to fine art. You know, he's throwing it over everybody's heads and just catching it, and you're sort of going, whoa, okay, where's that come from? And you could throw it up in the air and it was supposed to come round and be caught, or throw it in such a way that it came round. At least twice he threw it, looked up and got hit in the head by it. And it's terrible, isn't it, laughing at your son getting hit in the head? But we were absolutely collapsing with laughter. And I did manage to video him doing that on Instagram. So there's an Instagram video, if you go and look at my profile, of him getting hit in the head with this aeroplane and us just absolutely collapsing with laughter. Yeah, we're that mean. I'm sorry. But it was really, really funny. But yeah, that was a lovely day, and then we had the train back to Cardiff, and it was all straightforward and lovely, because last year we went to Wimbledon, Ben and I, and we got the train to London, but it was a lot cheaper coming back to get the bus. But the bus was horrible coming out of London because it was hot and we got caught in traffic, and neither Ben nor I are good travellers, so we were feeling so sick before we'd even left London. It took ages going down the motorway for us to stop feeling ill after the stop-start and really hot getting out of London bit, and then we were delayed by about an hour and a half. So this year I said, look, we're just getting the train both ways, we'll just deal with it. And it was so much nicer, it really was. So that was really good. I'm just looking around. I think all that I've got left to tell you about is shop news now. I, as I said, had a big dyeing session last week. Managed to dye up about, is it 10 or 12 new colourways, which I was really happy with. I've brought just a couple of them to show you. Excuse me, bonbon bunnies. Well, 3 of them to show you. They've had a really good response on Instagram, so thank you ever so much to those of you who've made comments and told me that you like them. That does mean a lot, because I really do try hard to make nice colourways that people would want to knit. So this one is called Emily, and it's on Sparkle Owl base, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon and 5%. This one's silver stellina. I do have some gold stellina as well. But and that's it's all different greens, from very, very pale green, you can see here, right through to a really, really dark green, and then there's a splash of almost red. It's not quite red, it's a very, very, very dark pink every now and again. So yeah, I really like that one. I love the way that the sparkles come out. Can you see the sparkles? It's hard to catch them on a camera, isn't it? Oh look, there you, yeah, you can see them there, because there are lots of sparkles. I really like this yarn, and it's very, very soft, but it being mainly merino, it's very soft. And yeah, with the nylon, it's strong enough to use for socks. So, and I have a friend. Hi Zoe, are you ironing? Have you got your ironing done now? Because you said I had to podcast so that you could iron. Well, I have. Zoe has now made 2 pairs of socks that I know of with this yarn base, because right when I started dyeing and potching about with it, I did some purple for her, and then I had a red one that she bought, which is sort of a very bright red. I think it's called Red Currant because it was really vibrant, and she just finished those and posted a picture of them on Instagram and in my Ravelry group last week. So they're obviously good because Zoe likes it, so you know, buy it. 437 yards to a skein. Even relatively large feet can get 1 pair of socks out of 1 skein. So there's my sales pitch done. The next one that I brought to show you is called Zombielicious, and it's one of the first times that I've tried speckle dyeing. Just sort of flicking the dye at the skein and then cooking it. And I did have quite a few autumny or Halloweeny sort of colourways this time, so I'm obviously shifting in my mind towards that time of the year. But I was actually really pleased with this one. It's not usually something that I would go for. I'm trying to get the colours right, I'm looking at the screen. Well, anyway, this is on my Cuddly Owl base, which is 100% superwash merino, and it is very squishy and lovely. Yeah, so there's that one. And then the one I brought you on the Happy Owl base is Autumn Flame, and that's the reds and the oranges and the yellows and a little bit of brown. Just those really bright colours that you see sometimes when the weather's right. and the leaves have that really vibrant colour when they turn in the autumn. That's what this makes me think of. So this is on the Happy Owl, which is 100% superwash Blueface Leicester. And that that base is really good for really strong colours, I find. So yeah, so I'm really pleased with them, and that's just a couple of them that I wanted to show you. I dyed up a lot of fibre as well. I think there were, how many did I do? Was it 6 or 8? They're all in my Etsy shop, which is owlaboutyarn.etsy.com. Well, unless they've sold out, but I don't think any of the colourways have sold out yet, because I did quite a few of each one. But the fibre that I'm happiest with, and I've kept one for myself to spin, and this one was it did have a couple of scraggles in it, and I don't like selling fibre if it's got scraggles, so I've kept this one to spin myself. It is a rainbow. Now why is that purple coming out looking blue? If somebody can tell me why, that would be wonderful. So, Richard of York gained battle in vain. It's not blue, it's violet. Does anybody else use a different rhyme to remember the colours of the rainbow? That was the one I was taught. Richard of York gained battle in vain. And that's my rainbow, roughly coiled up. And I did, I think I've got 8 of them in the shop. Might have sold 1 or 2, can't remember. But yeah, I was really pleased with that. So all the fibre I've dyed this time is all superwash Blueface Leicester. I do have some sparkly merino and silk to dye. I just haven't got round to that yet. That's probably going to be, that might be next month by the time I get chance to do that with the kids back in school and that. So we'll have to see how that goes. Maybe I'll find a weekend when I can dye it up or something. But I do like to keep some fibre and yarn in stock. Because, for instance, yesterday I had an email from somebody saying, oh, you've only got one of this particular colourway, which is this one. Is there any chance you could dye 3 for me? Because I need 3 for the particular project. And because I had enough of the yarn base, I was able to say, yeah, that's fine. So I do like to try and keep a few back so that I can do things like that if people need more than I've got of a particular colourway. I think that's all of it. I think I've shown you everything. So that's my shop news. If you watch the Bakery Bears podcast, they are running a Brit Along knit along, and that's going until I think it's the end of August. It might be the 25th. I've got the 25th in my head and I don't know why, but it's definitely still on, and there is a discount code for my shop, which is Britalong 10 or Britalong 15. I'll put it at the bottom. It's just going to be down here, just down here, and that's going to be valid until the knit along is over, because the Brit Along, to take part in that you need to knit with British yarns like mine, or use British patterns. So use my yarn, and then you can go and try and get prizes. And I've donated a prize, so you could win a skein of my yarn and some stitch markers, as well as, I'm sure they've got half a dozen other prizes by now over there. But you'd have to go and look in their group on Ravelry or watch their podcast, which I'd recommend doing because it's a lovely podcast. And also, oh yes, happy wedding anniversary, Dan and Kay, because today is your wedding anniversary, I noticed on Instagram. And Zena from the Little Yellow Uke, is that her, the name of her podcast? Or she? Well, anyway, oh, my memory, I am so sorry, I'm so vacant today. This is why you need show notes, people, so that you can focus and do it. Anyway, Zena, Little Yellow Uke on Instagram, and she has a podcast, the name of which escapes me right now. It's her wedding day today, so congratulations to Zena and Mr. Zena, and I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope that the big grey clouds aren't coming up over you, and that you have a fantastic time and make so many happy memories. So that's interesting. I've learnt something about my new tablet. it'll only let me record an hour of footage and then it turns off. That's worth bearing in mind in future, and it's probably a good way to limit myself to an hour. But very quickly, doing my endy bits, thank you ever so much for watching and sticking with me through my whole rambly hour. I promise faithfully that next time you see me, might not be for 2 or 3 weeks, might not be until the kids are back in school, unless I get another golden afternoon of freedom. Next time I will have show notes and I'll have written things down, and I'll try and be more structured and logical and progress in a more organised fashion. In the meantime, please come and chat with me in my Ravelry group. I love to chat with people over there. If you want to show any pictures of anything you've knitted using my yarn, that would be lovely. I love to see what people have made. It's like sending your children out into the world and then seeing what they become. So yeah, that always makes me really happy. I love it when people come and chat to me on Instagram as well. I do use Twitter, but I don't really interact with it very much. It's more a sort of automated thing that goes out when there are blog posts to read or podcasts to watch. So it's not somewhere that I really chat. But I'm on Instagram regularly, I'm on Ravelry regularly, so you can find me in any of those places. And via the Etsy shop, obviously, that will get hold of me as well. But yeah, so thank you ever so much for watching, and I will be back to chat with you again in a couple of weeks, hopefully. And then hopefully, once everybody's back at school, I can get some sort of regular routine going and maybe set a day each week aside where I sit down in the morning when I've packed them all off and chat with you properly and with notes to tell me what to tell you about. I'm going to go back through this podcast now with a fine-tooth comb and put subtitles up everywhere that I've forgotten to tell you things or couldn't remember the names of things. And hopefully I will see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you for bearing with me. I love you all very much for doing that. Bye!